Co-parenting? I mean, it can be one of the toughest jobs on the planet, right? Especially when the conflict is turned all the way up. It can feel like you're stuck in this endless loop of fighting with really no end in sight. But what if, and this is a big what if there was a structured playbook, something to turn all that chaos into a calm, predictable routine? Well, let's dive in and break down exactly how that works.
You know, this one sentence just hits the nail on the head. Relitigating life. That's exactly what it feels like, doesn't it? Having the same arguments day in and day out about schedules or money or who said what. The goal here isn't to pretend you'll never disagree. It's about building a system so you don't have to fight the exact same battles week after week after week.
So you're basically looking at a fork in the road here. On one side, you've got the old way, and I bet this looks pretty familiar to a lot of people. Vague agreements lead to constant fighting, and before you know it, you're right back in court. But the new path? It's all about precision. Measurable terms, so there's no confusion. Clear rules, and this is key, built-in repair loops for when things go off the rails, so you can fix it without everything exploding.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about why it feels like you're stuck on repeat. This is what we call the conflict loop. And it is absolutely exhausting. It's this draining cycle that doesn't just hurt the parents, it hurts the kids who are caught right in the middle. So what's actually fueling this engine of conflict? Here's the thing, these elements, they all feed each other. It's a vicious cycle. That win-slash-lose mindset, it leads to these vague agreements that can be twisted and used as a weapon later on. And that fuels toxic communication, which of course hurts the child. And since there's no clear way to fix small problems, every little disagreement blows up into a massive crisis that always seems to end up in the same place, court.
So, how do you break the cycle? How do you get out of that loop? Well, you introduce a new kind of referee. But this isn't another judge who's there to pick a winner and a loser. Nope. This is a process expert, someone whose entire job is to help you build a better system from the ground up.
And here is the absolutely crucial difference. This person, whether you call them a mediator or a parenting coordinator, they act as a process steward. They are not there to decide who's right and who's wrong. They're there to manage the process itself. Their job is to contain the conflict so it doesn't spill everywhere, create super clear rules, and actually build the skills you're going to need to manage this long term.
And this chart breaks down exactly what they bring to the table. Look at that. The biggest piece of the pie, a whopping 40%, is just containment, just stopping the bleeding. 30% is about creating clarity and designing better agreements. 20% is actively teaching new skills. And that last 10%, continuity, that's all about making sure there's a system in place to fix things down the road.
So this expert, they don't just show up with a bunch of good ideas. They come with a playbook, a literal system designed from the get-go to create predictable, positive outcomes. The whole point is to move away from reacting emotionally and start following a clear, established procedure.
The core idea of this playbook is something called closed-loop conflict resolution. It sounds a little technical, but it's a really simple and powerful concept. Basically, a problem or a trigger comes up. It gets guided through a specific work stream to find a solution. And this is the important part. That solution is designed to make sure that exact same problem doesn't happen again. You close the loop.
And to make this all work, everyone learns a really simple shared language. Just 5 words. The role, that's the process steward we talked about. A trigger is just any event that starts a fight. The work stream is the step-by-step path to solving it. An artifact is the documented proof like an email. And the handoff, that's the crystal clear assignment of who does what next. Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty good on paper, right? But how does this playbook actually work in the real world? How does it solve the kind of problems that cause so much pain? Let's take a look at a classic example. I mean, this is a big one, isn't it? How do you stop those late-night, super inflammatory texts and emails from escalating into a full-blown war that, ultimately just hurts your kid?
So the system starts by identifying the usual suspects, the common triggers, and we all know these. Accusatory messages, simple misunderstandings that just blow up, putting the kid in the middle, or just fighting over basic logistics. The playbook has a specific work stream designed for exactly this. It's called communication repair.
And this is brilliant. Just look at the solution. The before message, it's all accusation, it's bringing up history. It is designed to start a fight. Now look at the after. This uses a tool called the rewrite before send protocol. It's neutral, it's focused only on the facts, and it proposes a clear, time-bound solution. Honestly, it's kind of boring, and in high-conflict co-parenting, boring is beautiful.
So what's the outcome? Well, when you use a simple tool like this over and over,
You get fewer explosions. You get predictable, almost business-like interactions. And most importantly, you create a communication environment that is actually safe for your child to be around.
So, what happens when you apply these tools consistently? Well, all these small, structured changes, they start to add up, and they lead to the real payoff, a calmer, more stable family environment. And this is where trust, even if it's just trust in the process, can finally start to grow back.
A huge role that makes all this stability possible is no undocumented handoffs. Remember that word from our shared language? It's a game changer because it completely eliminates that, "Oh, I thought you were going to do that" argument. Every single task has to be clearly assigned, no ambiguity.
And this is exactly what a clear handoff looks like. It's simple. It answers 4 questions for every single task. What's the action? Who owns it? What's the deadline? And how do we prove it got done? There's just no room for argument here. Registering for camp isn't just a chat, it's an action. Owned by parent A, it's due January 15th, and the proof is the confirmation email. Done. Next.
And the ripple effect of this kind of stability is just massive. I mean, when the family system finally calms down, you see fewer emergency court filings. There's way less disruption spilling over into the child's school life. And the most important metric of all, the child's well-being, it goes way, way up.
And that brings us to this really powerful final thought. This whole thing, it isn't just about 2 parents getting along. It's about giving a child the freedom to just be a kid, without carrying the weight of all that adult conflict on their shoulders. When parents can coordinate, kids can relax. It's really that simple.
So it kind of leaves us with a bigger question, doesn't it? This system provides a clear, structured playbook for one of the hardest conflicts in life. And it just makes you wonder, what if all of our conflicts, big and small, had a playbook just like this?